and welcome to another lawnfawn video. Today we are so excited to introduce our brand new stamp set, Critter Conversation Hearts, its coordinating dies, and its coordinating coloring stencils. We're also going to be taking a look at the Critter Conversation Heart add-on and its coordinating die and coloring stencil. And these two sets are so great together, and I love that you can mix and match any of the phrases in either set with the hearts in either set too, so it's fun to mix and match. We also have some new backdrop dies. This is the Checkered Hearts backdrop in the landscape style, and we also have a portrait style too. And I love the little stitch lines and then those little cutout lines and the cutout hearts. Oh my gosh, it is so cute. So now first we're going to take a look at the Critter Conversation Hearts stamp set, and it has all of these cute critters holding on to the most adorable hearts. And we have a bear and a fox, we have a mole and a bunny, and then we also have a deer too. And then we have all of these phrases that you could stamp in those hearts or not. It's really cute for them to just hold a heart, or you can stamp all of these phrases that are kind of like those cute conversation heart candies for Valentine's Day. So we have hugs, XOXO, thanks, BFF, be mine, love you, forever, you are cute, sweetheart. And then you can see how some of them mix and match. So you could say like love you in one of the hearts and then forever in the other one. We also have text me, kiss me, you are so, possum. So one could say you are so and the other one could say possum. Then we have hey honey, we have miss you. We have very much, super cute to go along with the bear, and also hug me too. And I love that there's fun little puns that match some of the critters. So we could have hey foxy for the fox, wink wink or dig me for the mole, which is really cute. We have honey bunny for, of course, the cute little bunny, and my dear for the deer. And then we also have some larger mix and match sentiments, and I love these so much. So we have happy Valentines or happy Galentines, or we also have happy heart and then day. So you can mix and match it to create the perfect phrase for your card. And then we also have a super cute little I love you. Now it's time to add some color to these cute images. And right now here I'm using my Copic markers, but you could use your color pencils, your watercolors, or also the coloring stencils. And actually my favorite way to color these in is with the coloring stencils, and I'll show you that in just a little bit. Now, one of the things that I love about this stamp set is that it features cute characters that are in some of our other stamp sets. So you can either use these on their own, or you can mix and match them with the fox or the bear in some of our other sets in a really cute way. And we're going to do that with the mole towards the end of the video. It's just such a fun way to use them. These little critters holding the hearts are just adorable. And what I like about them is they could just be holding the heart, and you could do like a sending hugs card all year round, or you can stamp those little phrases in there, and then it feels a little bit more like a conversation heart and a little bit more Valentine theme. So I love that you can mix and match it in that way. These little characters are so much fun to color in. I'm just adding a little bit of a dark marker and then medium and then light. And there you can see with the mole, I went back in with the darkest marker and then just blended it out just a little bit. For the snout and the hands, I do the pink and then I put a little bit of that light brown over top just to kind of tone it down a little bit and make it look a little bit more like a real mole. Here for this cute little bunny, I'm just going to do these E50s. And what I like about this is you can mix and match different browns and grays so that all your characters are different, and you could layer all of them onto a card, which is so super cute. And then here you'll see I'm going to do this adorable deer, and we're just going to fill him in with some E20 markers. Again, I used all these different shades of brown so that if I did put them all on the same card, they would all look a little different and feel really special. Now for the actual hearts, you could color them in a lot of different ways. You could do some lighter pastel colors and then stamp those cute phrases inside. You could do bold colors and not stamp a phrase and have it just stand out. I also think these would be really cute paper piece. So you could stamp them on pattern paper and cut them out and layer them onto the heart, and I think that would just be adorable. In this case, I decided to do some colors that really felt like those conversation hearts candies. And so I'm just doing some light pinks and light purples. I'm going around my markers and finding the ones that have the lightest possible colors, and I'm using those to color in the different hearts. And look how cute this is. It's just like a fun little rainbow of hearts. I think a card with them all lined up in a row would be just adorable. And then here for my last one, I'm going to do some light oranges, which I think just looks so super cute. And I just love these little characters so much. Now, next up, we're going to take a look at the Critter Conversation Hearts add-on. We had more cute phrases that we were thinking of, and we wanted to put them in, and we couldn't fit them, so we decided to do this cute little mini add-on. And what's fun about this is it has that plain heart and then a bunch of cute phrases. So you could create a card just featuring this heart, or you can mix and match this plain heart with the cute critter hearts. And of course, we have these fun little phrases. We have, hey babe, we have date me, say yes, hey girl, girl power, my guy, you rock, awesome, me plus you. I really like that one. We have crazy for you, cutie pie, which is super cute. And now you can add all of those into the heart or not. And here you can see how they could mix and match together. So you could use any of the phrases in the add-on with the cute critter conversation hearts or any of the phrases in the original set with the plain heart. And I'm just going to use some light purples to color in this cute heart here. And here you can see the two sets together and how fun they are to mix and match. And so next up we have the coordinating dies for the critter conversation hearts. All you need to do is take the dies, line them up with your stamped images, hold it in place with some low tack tape, run it through the die cut machine, and you'll have perfectly cut out images every time. And then here are all of the characters from the set. Of course, you could use them individually or you can mix and match them together. I really like having them overlap all together to be like this cute little trio, or you could have two of them just sitting next to each other, or you can make cute little tags or little treat bags with just one of them. I mean, there's so many fun and cute ways to use these. And then here is the coordinating die for the Critter Conversation Heart add-on. And of course you can just take that, line them up with your stamped image, hold it in place with some low tack tape, run it through your die cut machine, and you'll have a perfectly cut out cute little heart to layer onto your cards. And then here you can see it with the other characters and how you can mix and match them and layer them behind in a cute way. And we're going to show you a card with that in just a second. And here I wanted to show you what it looks like to stamp into these cute little hearts. So we're just going to take some jet black ink here and I'm just going to stamp some of the phrases there into the hearts. And so of course you can stamp it into the heart the little critter is holding, or you can stamp some phrases into the single heart. Next up, we have the Critter Conversation Hearts coloring stencil. This is a set of 2 coloring stencils, and they're sized to be the same size as the stamp set so that you can easily store them together. Here you can see how there's etched guidelines on the coloring stencils, which make lining them up really, really easy. And then here I am just taking some fake tan ink and inking over my cute little fox. And by having a little bit more ink on the edge of the stencil and going lighter out to the edge, it gives this really cool gradient look. Here is some sugar cookie ink that I'm just going to add on the outside edges of his face and also onto the tail. And then now we can add some color into the ears, of course. And then now into the little heart there. I think the heart is just so pretty with the coloring stencils. It really gives it the feel of one of those candy conversation hearts. I'm making sure to layer on a little bit more ink on the outside edges of the heart so that it's lighter towards the center to give it kind of a cool 3-dimensional feel. And isn't that so pretty? I just think it looks absolutely gorgeous with the coloring stencil. And then so here for our Critter Conversation Hearts add-on, we have our cool single coloring stencil for this little mini heart. And again, we're going to do the same thing, brushing on our ink and keeping it darker towards the outside edges to give it that kind of fun, bubbly heart feel. And I think that's so pretty and such a great way to get that kind of conversation heart look. Now here we have our checkered hearts backdrop in the landscape style. This backdrop has such gorgeous details on it. I love this as a background so much. I've been using it on almost all of the cards. You can put a contrasting color behind to really have the hearts pop out, or you could use the same color behind it to give it a little bit more of a tone-on-tone feel. We also have this checkered hearts backdrop in the portrait style. And so I love that we have it in both landscape and portrait depending on what card you're trying to make. And just like the landscape one, you can put a contrasting color behind the hearts, or you could do a tone-on-tone look. Anything would look amazing. We're going to start creating our first card here, and we're going to take out the postage rectangle stackables, and we're going to take the second smallest one here and die cut some white cardstock, and we're going to use the coordinating stencils for these to add a little bit of detail to the inside part of this postage rectangle. And so here I have that stencil. It has an etched guideline to make it really easy to line up, and then we're going to take some Ballet Slippers ink and just ink over this whole area. This is going to give us a nice white border and this beautiful pink inking on the inside. Then we're going to leave that stencil there and layer our outline heart stencil on top of that. That way we're still protecting that white edge of the postage rectangle with the other stencil that's underneath it, but now we can add even more detail on top. And so here we're going to make sure to ink over all of these really cute outline hearts. And I love that you can layer the stencils in this way to get this really cool look. So you'll layer on the postage rectangle stencil first, ink that up, and then you could do things like put grass on there or add these cute hearts, and the outside edge of that postage look is still going to be protected. So we're going to ink up all over these hearts, and then we can peel up that stencil there, and you can see how cute those hearts are looking. And then we'll peel up the postage rectangle stencil. And now we're going to have this adorable pattern and also still have that postage stamp look, which I think is just adorable. Next, we're going to take out the Critter Conversation Heart stamp set and also the add-on too. And we're going to be using both one of the characters and then also the plain heart too. We're going to layer them together and we're going to stamp little phrases from them. And so again, you can mix and match any of the phrases from either of the sets. And so we're going to be doing some stamping into these to give it that conversation heart feel. Then we can add some foam squares on the back of all of these, and we're going to layer them onto this cute little postage rectangle that we stenciled. So we're going to have the bear in the middle, and then the other hearts are going to layer behind him at an angle, which I think is such a cute look. Then for the base of this card, we're going to make this a cute little mini card. We are going to be using the Gleeful Gradients paper, and there's this really great bright pink with these stars on it. And so we're going to trim a piece down there. And I like this mini card feel. I think they're just so cute. It's still going to fit in a standard envelope and standard postage, and it's just going to be adorable. And so we're going to layer this whole panel onto that bright pink piece. And then we need to work on our sentiment. So we're going to die cut a wavy banner here from some white cardstock, and we're going to stamp directly on to this banner. And we're actually going to be using the Henry's Build a Sentiment Love. I love this for a basic sentiment set because it's perfect for all of these different phrases that you can mix and match together to create not only Valentine phrases, but also I love you and anniversary and sending hugs type phrases too. And so we're going to stamp out the Will You Be My Valentine in some guava ink, and then we'll add some foam squares to the back of this as well to give it a little pop, and then we can layer this onto the card. And I love the look of it being right underneath the bear, almost like he's sitting on this cute little thing. Now we went ahead and created a card base to match, and we're going to add some tape runner onto that and then layer this whole panel on top. And now this card is all done. It's so super quick and easy to make, and we actually decided to make another one featuring the bunny. So I like that you could use all of the different characters that you stamp in color and create different cards. You could even change up the colors for like pinks and purples and blues. I just think it'd be really fun to make one for each character. Now that we've created a Valentine's card, we thought it would be fun to create a Galentine's card. So we're going to be recreating a gorgeous card by Maureen here, and we're going to be die cutting that checkered hearts backdrop in the landscape style from some white cardstock. And Maureen did something really cool with this backdrop, actually two things really cool. So first we're going to start off by stenciling that outline heart stencil over top, and we're going to use some Ballet Slippers ink, which is a really light pink ink, and we're going to do it really nice and light over this. It's going to be a subtle background, but I really like it. For some reason, it kind of reminds me of like an 80s Valentine looking thing. I just think it looks super cute. And so we're just going to ink all over this stencil until we cover the whole thing. And now we can peel up the stencil and look how cool that looks. I think it looks really neat. I like the mixture of the two patterns. And now we're going to do a really fun technique to add different color hearts all in this background. So usually for this, I would use like a color cardstock like purple, and all the hearts would be purple. But I loved how Maureen did this. She added a different color behind each heart, and we're going to do that with our markers. So we're using the backdrop here as a little guide there. You can see we've kind of got it off on the side, and then we're just going to add fun, bright colors that are going to layer behind those hearts. And so this is really quick and easy and fun way to do this, because you could create your own little like rainbow heart background or use a fun little color palette like we've done here. And so you can see as you layer the backdrop over top, it's filling in each of the hearts. And by just having the backdrop right there, we kind of know exactly where to fill in these different colors. And so we're going to keep doing that, working our way down all of these cute little hearts to create this multicolor background, which I can't wait to do more of. And here you can see once you have that right and left edge, you can kind of just keep shifting your backdrop down and filling in those colors and just kind of checking to make sure it looks okay. And then just shift it down and use it as a guide again as to where to put your little scribbled dots and work your way down this whole thing. And this took a little bit of time, but it's really fun to do. I find stuff like this relaxing, and the payoff is just so cute. I just think it's adorable. Then once we have all of our scribbles in place, we can just add some liquid glue onto the back of this backdrop and layer it over top. And look how cute this is. I think this would be cute even just with a plain sentiment on it. It's just adorable. Then we went ahead and stamped and colored and die cut 3 of the characters from the Critter Conversation hearts. And we decided to color in those hearts with some really bold colors. And instead of just stamping directly on them, we're going to heat emboss the phrases onto these cute little characters. So we're going to stamp in some clear embossing ink, and then we're just going to dip it into our embossing powder jar, tap off any of the excess, and then we can do it with the last one. We're going to stamp in our embossing ink, dip it into the jar, tap off any of the excess, and then we can go ahead and heat up each of these with our heat tool. And there you can see how pretty those are. I really like the bright white phrases onto those bold conversation hearts. I think it looks so cute. Next, we wanted a cute little frame for these characters, so we are going to be using some of the Say Cheese Again Polaroid frames. It has a larger frame and a smaller frame, and so we're going to be using the smaller one, and we're die cutting some Tide Pool, Sage Leaf, and Ballet Slippers cardstock out of these cute little Polaroids. And then we're also going to die cut 3 of these Polaroids out of white cardstock, and so we're going to use the Polaroid frames in the white, and then we're going to use the colorful squares there for the middle, and we can save those other little Polaroids for another card later. Then we're going to take some ink and we're going to splatter over top of it. So this is some watercolor here. We're using some pretty golds, all different shades there, and just splattering all over this colorful cardstock, and it's just going to give it a fun texture. We're going to set those aside to dry, and once they're dry, we can go ahead and start bringing in our cute little tiny Polaroids. And to hold these in place, we're going to use some washi tape on the back. So you'll just fit it in like a puzzle, and then just use your washi tape to hold it in place. And that way it's easier to attach the whole thing onto your card. So we're just going to do that for all of these. Then we're going to add some foam squares on the back of each of these characters, and we're going to layer them in their coordinating Polaroid there. And you'll see their little feet are kind of be on the edge of the Polaroid, which I think looks so super cute. And it's such a fun way to feature these adorable little characters. Then we can go ahead and bring our backdrop back in, and you'll see how the colors are going to look so cute. It matches the colors of those different backgrounds, and I think these are just going to look amazing together. We're also going to die cut some vellum here with the second largest of the postage rectangles, and you can see how pretty that's going to look. It's going to diffuse the background a little bit and give a nice place for our Polaroids to be, but I like that you can still see those colorful hearts shining through it. Next, we wanted to add a little more detail, and I love how Maureen did this too, is she used the paper clips dies, and we're going to die cut them from some holographic cardstock, and I love these paper clips dies die cut out of the holographic cardstock. It's just so cute. And so we've got some of the different styles here. We're just going to put it on a piece of paper there, add some adhesive, and then just attach it on to these little Polaroids just like you would a real paper clip, and look at the fun little detail that it adds. I love the holographic nature of them. I just think it's just so pretty, and by layering them on each of the Polaroids, it looks like we almost paper clip those Polaroids to the card, but actually we're going to tape them. So I added some tape to the back of each of these, and then we're just going to layer those. So we'll layer the one in the center, and then the other two can just kind of overlap just like that at an angle, and I think that's going to look really cute on there. Now next we need our sentiment, so we have a wavy banner here die cut from some Ballet Slippers cardstock, and we're going to be using the Happy Valentine's Day phrase from the Critter Conversation Hearts stamp set. We can just pick that up with our block, curve the phrases just a little bit. We'll stamp in some clear embossing ink, and then we can sprinkle on some heat embossing powder, and then we'll heat it up with the heat tool, and we'll have this really pretty bright white shiny sentiment that's going to match the heat embossing that we did on those cute Critter Conversation Hearts. We can add some adhesive on the back of this panel and then layer that onto the card. And then we're going to go ahead and layer on our cute Happy Valentine's Day phrase. We had one more paper clip, and it's like, why not? We're going to add one more on there just for a fun little look. And so we're just going to kind of tuck that right onto that other Polaroid. And I love the fun holographic sparkle that it gives to the card. Now here's a standard size card base that's 5.5 by 4.25. We're going to add some tape runner onto that and then layer this whole panel on top. And now this card is all done. It is so super cute. I love the idea of doing a Valentine's Day card, and by adding those little paper clips, it gave it that really fun holographic look, and I love the idea of featuring these cute critters in some Polaroids. And next up, Shari is going to make some super cute bookmarks. So take it away, Shari.
So I'm going to create some bookmarks with the new Critter Conversation Hearts stamps. I've already stamped and colored these little guys here, but I have not colored in their hearts yet. And I'm using the stitched bookmark die. I've already cut some spiffy speckles paper. I have 2 purples and 2 teals. One is the front and one is the back. And these are really easy to make as like party favors or Valentine's. I just think they're a really fun idea. But part of the reason I have not colored in the little hearts yet is because I want to use my coloring stencils to color them in. Coloring stencils made coloring these large hearts very, very easy. Now these little guys here, they're going to be stacked on the purple background, so I am going to use my grip mat to hold them in place while I color in their hearts. And I pulled out 3 colors for their hearts. I have Peachy Keen, Celery Stick, and Merman. And these are like the perfect pastel conversation heart colors. So I'm going to start with my fox, pull out my coloring stencils here, find the little fox, and line up that heart. So I'm using a small blending brush with that celery stick ink, and part of the reason I love using these coloring stencils for these big hearts is because I tend to put a lot of color down when I color with markers, and this way I feel like I can just lightly add a shade of ink. Next, I'm moving on to the little bear, so I found the coordinating stencil for my little bear. I've lined that up, and I'm using some Peachy Keen ink. And as you can see, I'm kind of tapping it off. It's much easier to just keep adding ink than taking it away, but you can see I get that beautiful pale pink color. Next, I'm moving on to my bunny rabbit here using that merman ink. And while I have my grip mat out, I'm going to grab that little deer that I set aside. This one is going to go on that teal background, so I am going to use purple to color in the heart for the little deer. So this is grape jelly ink for my little deer here. Just look at how cute those are. So while I have my grip mat out, I want to do a little stenciling on my purple bookmark with the new Outline Heart stencil. Now it is a little taller than the 6 inches of the stencil, so I'm turning it diagonal to make sure it is long enough, and that works out perfect with this background. So I'm using that same grape jelly ink that I used for the heart for my little deer, and a small blending brush, and just going all over in that outline heart and making sure that this whole bookmark is covered with those cute little hearts. When I started to pull it up, I noticed I didn't really get enough ink at the bottom, but I can easily just lay that back down and add a little more ink. And look at that beautiful background on this bookmark. Now you don't have to add another piece of die cut paper to the back because it does have the speckles on it, but I just think it's a nice finishing touch and it makes that bookmark nice and sturdy. So I'm just adding the other purple spiffy speckles to the back. Now I'm lining up my little critters here just for placement. I am going to stamp a sentiment at the top that says Happy Heart Day. So I am going to pop this into my MISTI and line up the stamps from the Critter Conversation Heart stamp set that says Happy Heart Day right above my little critters. And this is why I'm putting them here, so I make sure that I have it high enough that they all fit and not too low. I don't want to squish my little critters down into each other. So there is Happy Heart Day, and while I have my MISTI out, I'm going to go ahead and stamp a sentiment on the teal Spiffy Speckles bookmark as well. There is a sentiment in this stamp that just says I love you, and I'm going to stamp this one at the bottom of this bookmark just for something different. So I'm just lining that up towards the bottom. This is only going to have one critter on it, so I don't need to worry too much about placement. But I wanted to show you a fun way to make a background on this teal bookmark. I am using the Critter Conversation Hearts add-on that just has a plain heart and some more little stamps that you can stamp inside the heart. And I am going to make a background with this plain heart to kind of match the heart that my little deer is holding. So I am stamping in Merman ink so that we get that nice tone on tone look just like our stencil. And I'm stamping all over with that big heart. And I'm avoiding my sentiment there. You could stamp this first and then stamp the sentiment, just like using a stencil, but it's kind of fun to have it there so you can avoid it. Now I did want some more little hearts to fill in, so I grabbed the new Soy Happy mini set. It has this cute little open heart in there, and I'm just filling in between my big hearts. I love using smaller stamps like this to fill in and create custom backgrounds. And I did decide below that sentiment just to add just the edge of another big heart down there. Now, before I stamp all those little sentiments in those hearts, I decided to go ahead and pick the ones that I wanted inside the conversation hearts that my critters are holding. So, of course, the little deer says, "My dear." The little fox says, "Hey, Foxy." For the little bear, I decided to go with "Forever." And then for my little bunny, I'm using "You Are Cute." Now I can go back to that merman ink and pull out the sentiments to fill in all these plain hearts that are in my background. So you could pick anything, you can make them all the same. I decided to make every one of them different, so I'm switching out my stamp every time. And for the ones that kind of go off the sides, I tried to pick sentiments that you could tell what it said, even if part of the words were cut off. So hugs and the XO and XO worked perfect for that. Now I can layer this one onto the background piece so that I have 2 layers of that paper together, just to make it nice and sturdy. And now I'm ready to add all my cute little critters to my bookmarks. So down here at the bottom, right above that "I love you," I'm adding my little deer. And then on this one, I'm going to stack these, make sure I have their spacing correct. Gotta watch out for those tall bunny ears up there at the top. And then I can pick each one up and just add them with a little bit of liquid glue. Stacking the critters like this is a really fun idea we saw on a card by Grace, and we just thought this was such a cute idea to stack all these critters together. So finally, we need to finish off the top of our bookmark, and you could use the tassel from the tassel tag die set, but I thought I would show you something a little faster in case you're making a whole bunch of these for Valentine's. So I just have some little 1/8 inch gross grain ribbon here in 2 different colors. I've just cut some links. I have a purple and a teal, and then I'm also going to use some twine. You could even use just a bunch of different colors of twine, but all you need to do is kind of stack these together. So I'm just layering them together to find the center of all these. And I'm going to kind of bend it, make a little loop. And I'm going to thread this through the hole from the back towards the front. Now, this is a small hole, so I thought I'd show you a little trick. I'm using my tweezers. I stuck them through the hole. I'm going to grab onto those ribbons and use my tweezers to help me kind of pull them through the hole. And look how well that worked. Instead of trying to struggle with fitting all those things through that hole, this is a really good way to kind of help yourself out. And then you're going to pull all those ends back through that loop and just tighten it up. And you can tighten each one up individually as needed. And look at that fun topper to that bookmark. So I'm going to show you that again. I have the same 3 pieces. I'm making a loop in the center, sticking my tweezers through the hole from the front towards the back, pulling those from the back towards the front, and then looping them back through themselves. And I just think this is really fun because it goes really fast. You could use all kinds of colors to match your bookmarks. And then of course we need some glitter, so I'm using some stickles right along the tops of the hearts. Then on this background, what I did was I just added some dots of glitter right where the dots are on the stenciled background. Then I just added a few more in there wherever I felt like it needed a little bit of sparkle. Now on this background, what I did was I put sparkle on those little hearts where I did not stamp a sentiment. And then I'm also going to add a little bit the top of the deer's heart. And then here are my finished bookmarks. These were really easy to make, especially using those coloring stencils. And I think you can make a whole bunch in all different colors and they'd be great Valentines. So on my card today, I'm using that cute little mole from Critter Conversation Hearts paired up with this cute little mole from A Mole Lot of Love. I just love that these match and we can mix and match these stamp sets together. So I've already colored and cut them out and I need to stamp some sentiment. So I need to add a little sentiment to that speech bubble as well as to the conversation heart that that other little mole is holding. So in the conversation heart, I'm using the stamp that says, "I really dig you," which is perfect for these little moles. And then I decided to go with the little conversation heart sentiment that says, "Wink, wink," especially because this little guy has his eyes closed. So I think that's really cute. Now for my background, I'm using the new Checkered Hearts Backdrop Portrait. I'm cutting this from some seafoam spiffy speckles paper. So we've got that aqua color with the speckles already built in. And I'm going to take a piece of pink spiffy speckles paper. This is strawberry frosting. And I'm just trimming a piece down to 4¼ by 5½ so it will fit right behind this backdrop and we will see that pink peek through those cute little heart cutouts. Now before I glue these two together, I'm actually going to do a little bit of inking on the edges and the corners of this backdrop. So I'm using some mermaid ink and an blending brush, and I'm trying to be really careful not to bend this since it's pattern paper instead of cardstock. It's a little easier to bend, but I'm just adding some shading to the outside edges and the corners, and it's going to catch in those stitching details of the backdrop and really just kind of frame up this background. Then I can add some adhesive runner on the back, and I like to go diagonal between those heart openings. Make sure my corners have some adhesive, and then layer this on top of the pink. And now I have those cute little pink hearts peeking through. And I can go ahead and put this whole thing onto a card base. I had a little bit of pink kind of peeking out the edge there. I'm just going to trim that off with scissors, and then put this onto my card base. Now let's look at some of the die cut elements I have for this card. I'm using the new Heart Blooms as well as Scripty Love and the Scripty Love outline. So for the Heart Blooms, I cut all of my hearts from some spiffier speckles paper, so we have that pretty gold fleck in there, that foiling, and I cut the outline for the Scripty Love out of that same pattern paper. For the stem, I used some watercolor wishes, so we have kind of a nice watercolor gradient look. And for those little leaves, I also used that aqua color from Watercolor Wishes. So to assemble these, what I'm going to do is start by putting a little bit of liquid glue right on the ends of all these little stems. And then I will just add my hearts, and I am varying which size. So I have the big ones on the outside and the center, and the smaller hearts in between. Then once I have my hearts on there, I can go through and I'm just going to add a tiny dot of glue on the very tip of each of these hearts, and that is where my little aqua colored leaves are going to go. You could make these green as well, but I thought it was fun to kind of bring in another color, and it matches the background, but it's a little bit darker, so it kind of pulls in that background color too. And I'm just using my pick up pokey tool to pick those up really easy and drop them right onto that dot of glue. And now my heart blooms are ready to go on my card. Next, I'm going to glue together my Scripty Love. So I cut out the Scripty Love from some gold sparkle cardstock, and I'm layering it over that spiffier speckles paper, which again has that gold foil fleck in it. And I think that the gold sparkle with the gold foil looks really nice. The outline die does create a little embossed edge in there so you can see exactly where to line up that Scripty Love sentiment. So I'm going to start to lay these on my card and figure out my placement for all of my elements. I'm going to have those heart blooms kind of coming up from behind the L. I have a little place for my little moles to sit on top of that sentiment and their little sentiment bubble, but I need to finish my sentiment, and what I'm doing is I'm pulling out that same Watercolor Wishes paper that I cut the little leaves out of, and I have the Valentine Mice stamp set. There is a stamp in here that says Sending Love. I am just going to ink up the word sending. I'm wiping off that ink on the L. I stamped the first one and had a little bit of ink where the L was, so I'm just stamping another one. And then I'm going to use a little sentiment banner, line this up to where it is towards the left side of the banner, and run this through my die cut machine. Now I have a banner with that sending on the left side. I can trim off this little piece over here. We don't need that. And this is going to layer behind the word love, so it says Sending Love. I just think this looks really cool, and it brings in that same paper that is in the heart blooms. So I'm just adding a little bit of liquid glue so I can line up my banner where I want it to be. Now this whole sentiment can act as one piece. I will put some foam squares all over the back. I'm not pulling off the liner paper just yet. I'm just putting it here for placement. I want to glue down my heart blooms first. And I'm going to pop up the one in the middle and the one on the left, because I don't want to pop up the one on the right. I'm going to put a little mole there. Now I did put my square on the wrong one after I did it, but I'm just going to pull it off and move it over, and we'll just have 2 of those popped up. If I wasn't putting this cute little critter there, I would probably pop up that one on the right too, so we had some really fun dimension in the whole bouquet. So I'm going to add liquid glue on the ones that will lay flat and the stems. Pull off that liner paper for those 2 squares that I put on there. And then I'll just take this whole bouquet of heart blossoms and tuck it right behind the L. I like that it kind of looks like it's coming right up out of that tall letter in that sentiment. Then I can pull off all that liner paper for all the foam squares I put on the back of the sentiment, and that will make the sentiment pop up off the background as well and have some really fun dimension. I like that this backdrop has some nice straight lines, so it helps you line up your sentiment too. Now for my little moles, I'm just going to glue them directly to the background so that they look like they're kind of sitting down inside that sentiment. I think that's a really fun look. They're just tucked down there inside the word love. So this little guy is going to fit perfectly right over the O and the V, and then we have our other little guy sitting over here on the E. And then I used a foam square or 2 to pop up my speech bubble so it has some dimension too. Now for embellishment, I'm adding some Stickles glitter just to the leaves parts of the heart blossoms. And then what I decided to do was cut some more sparkle gold hearts with the Hearts and Stars skinny tag die. This is going to pull in that gold sparkle that is in the sentiment and just add some more gold sparkle up at the top of the card and kind of fill in that empty space up there. So all I did was use one of each of the sizes of the hearts, and then I'll just keep the other hearts in my drawer for later, and I'm sure I will use them on another project before too long. So once I have their placement there, I actually stuck the big one right on one of the hearts of the backdrop. Then I just pick each one up and add it with a dot of glue. And then here is my finished card with those cute little moles on that scripty word. We have the beautiful heart blossoms, and I really just love that new checkered heart backdrop.
Shari, I love how you combined our cute little mole with the mole from the Critter Conversation Hearts. They're so adorable together, and these bookmarks are so cute, and I can't wait to make one just like it. I love that background you created with that add-on stamp set too. And next up, we have some incredible cards by the team, and this one by Audrey is so cute, and I love how she used our new candy heart stencil in the background. I absolutely love what Elena did here. She individually colored all of the different checkered hearts backdrop. Isn't that gorgeous? I can't wait to try it. Here, I love how Grace combined our How You Being Conversation Heart stamp set with these cute little characters holding on to the conversation hearts. I love that it's a shaker, and I can't wait to try it. These 2 sets are a perfect match for each other. These adorable tags by Mindy are so sweet. The background is stenciled with our candy heart stencil, and I love the cute little characters. These are perfect for treat bags. I love how Lynette created her own background using the add-on. Isn't that so cute? I love it. It's like a custom pattern paper. And then Elise was inspired by a similar idea to create this fun grid-like pattern on the card. And this is such a cute and adorable card. Here, I love how Megan used our bookmark die to create a Polaroid feel with these adorable characters and the paper clips. And then this card here by Tammy is so cute. I love all of her adorable little postage stamps and her fun stenciling in the background. This card by Callie is so fun, and I love the bright red color on all of these hearts mixed and matched with that Scripty XOXO. And then Yania's colors are so gorgeous. I absolutely love these little tags. They are perfect for Valentine's Day, and I love the paper clips too. This card by Melissa is so pretty. I love how she used the checkered heart background and also those gorgeous heart blooms. And then here is the card by Maureen that inspired us to make ours today. It is so super cute, and I love the colors she used too. This card by Letitia is so fun. I love how she used the lacy heart stackables with this brand new backdrop. It looks amazing. Here's a fun card by Rebecca using our awesome Say Cheese Polaroids and these cute little characters. I just love it. And then our 4-square backdrop is a perfect place for these cute little characters, and I love how the phrase is spelled out with everything stamped in their hearts. So we cannot wait to see all of your awesome Critter Conversation Hearts cards and your cool backdrop cards too, so make sure to share them with us. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. Bye!